Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Sergio from the MiamiSEOcompany.com, and today I'm going to show you how to go through your AdWords account to see how it's performing. I'm going to make this video somewhat quick so that I don't bore you to death, but I do want you to understand that it is very easy to log into your AdWords account and to be able to see how things are performing on a weekly, monthly, or any type of date range that you're looking to analyze. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start with the presentation. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to Google AdWords. You can just do a Google search for Google AdWords and click on the first result, or go to adwords.google.com, as you can see here at the top of the screen. Now, when you log into your AdWords account, you're going to need to have your access to your AdWords account, obviously, and if you're a client of ours, that's something that we'll set up for you so that you can log in with your Gmail account or any Google account that you have. So once you're in, you're going to be prompted to see the overview, which is already highlighted here, as you can see. To the left of the overview, there's a little right-hand arrow that I'm hovering over, and that basically is your navigation panel, which will allow you to see all of the campaigns. You can choose to switch between the campaigns right here. In this case, we have a couple of different campaigns, one for each store that my client has. This particular client sells bikes. It's a very good example to use because it's a simple product to understand. They have a few different locations, one in each city that you see here. So if you click on all campaigns and then you go back to the overview, you're basically going to be looking at reporting data for all of the campaigns. And that's what we want to do right now. Instead of just looking at the overview, which is a pretty cookie cutter type of reporting widget based dashboard here, you can take a look at it. Some of the information might be appealing to you, but I'd rather focus on the important stuff. And I'll get into what that is next. So the first thing I recommend doing is going to the Campaigns tab to see which campaigns you have in your account. Now, in this case, I've customized my reporting view to include a few things, but I'm going to go ahead and make it basic, remove some of the segmenting that I've done so it appears how it should on your end if you log into your account. What you should see is a linear graph here, and it should just show, I'm going to revert back to the default settings. It should show clicks on a blue line here in the graph. And if you're looking at any date range, I'm going to do 30 days up to today, since that's usually the most common default that's used when you log in for the first time. I'm going to change this to daily, since that's probably what the default is as well for you if you're logging in for the first time. So if you're logging in for the first time, you're going to see something very similar to this, a linear graph with some motion on it here, which represents the clicks in this case. As you can see next to the blue line, it says clicks. You could append a secondary performance linear graph plot here, such as average cost per click, and kind of see the trends here as the days go on through the month, or you can change that to weekly or monthly if you're looking at a bigger date range. The date range selection is here at the top. You have some preset options, and you can also customize the start date. Maybe you want to look back to August 1st and make the end date November 30th. Hit apply, and just like that, you have the date range now applied to the reporting view. So again, here's the date range. You click on it, you have some options, and cancel and apply once you're done making the changes. And here on the graph, you can choose what's going to be plotted on the graph, whether it's clicks or cost, you name it. You have several options. Now on the graph, you can change it from daily to weekly if you want by clicking on the three little dots here and then hovering over the show options and choose what you'd like there. Now what's great about the Google AdWords software is that it allows you to see data basically at a really high level or at a very, very granular level if you'd like as well. So we talked about this client having multiple locations. One of the locations is in Boca Raton. Right now we're looking at the reporting data for all of the locations. So we can see the total number of clicks down here at the bottom. Total account clicks is 5,760. The total cost for that amount of clicks. And if we start scrolling to the right, we see there's a bunch of things on this table. And if you hover over any of the column headers, by the way, it tells you what it is. So the cost is obviously the total cost. The average position It tells you what position on Google, if you're number 1, 2, or 3 on average. In this case, the total account average has been number 1. And then the total cost per conversion is really important. That's what I want to focus on. If you're not selling products on your website, for example, this client doesn't sell products on the website. They have stores, and they're pretty expensive bicycles, actually. So they have to do a lot of sales consulting before they can actually just sell the product on the internet and ship it to the customer's location. This is more of a brick and mortar type of campaign where we want to drive as many customers to the locations as possible. So what we're tracking are phone calls and requests for information, for example, store hours or GPS directions or address requests. And that's what we've set up as tracking. So every time something like that takes place, whether it's a phone call, an email request, or anything like that, it's tracked as a conversion. So in this column, it shows you what conversions are and basically how many of them are being accrued over time. So in the date range that we have selected, dating back to August all the way up until November 30th, it shows a total of 268 conversions. And if you divide the total cost by the number of conversions, you can see that this customer has paid around $22.70 for every conversion, which could be a really great number or could be a really high number or a low number depending on your industry. But the goal should be to always work on getting the lowest possible cost per conversion and striving to have a decent conversion rate. The conversion rate is simply the rate at which visitors turn into a conversion. If a conversion is a phone call, then that's basically going to be your conversion counted. So if you have 10 visitors and 1 phone call for the day, your conversion rate's 10%. If you spent $10 per click, and that's $100 worth of clicks for 10 clicks with 1 phone call, then your cost per conversion is $10. And this is all being calculated here for you automatically, which is what we focus on as we manage our customers' campaigns. All of this information can be segmented and drilled down to even further. For example, we can look at the Boca Raton campaign and find out what keywords are actually generating the most amount of clicks and the most amount of phone calls, and which ones are really not generating too many clicks or phone calls, or maybe they're just too expensive and they're not generating any phone calls over time. We can analyze that data and make educated decisions on whether or not we should keep spending money on those types of keywords. And I'll show you an example. If we go into the keyword group called Boca Raton Shop, which is basically the keyword related to this store location in that city, we can see which keywords are generating the most conversions. So here we see Boca Raton, our bicycle generation, which is actually the name of another shop that is a competitor. In this particular case, the client wants to show up for competitors' names as well, is generating some conversions. And we can look at all the other keywords. Let's go back even further in time because there's really not a lot of data here. We can change this to, let's go back to February and make this the end of November. So we have a little bit more data to work with. So here we go. We have bicycle shop Boca Raton that generated a few clicks, and mainly it's that keyword. And if we click on search terms, we can actually see the search terms that were being used. So best performing electric bikes, bicycle store as a misspelling, and a bunch of other ones as well. So as we begin to analyze this data, we start to realize, okay, well, there are some patterns. Maybe there are some search terms that are a lot cheaper than others. As you can see, the cost per click varies according to the different search terms that we're using. And we're able to analyze that and start making adjustments so that you're not spending money on keywords that don't result in phone calls or form submissions, and that your money is being spent on those keywords that actually do generate a lot of conversions, also known as phone calls, emails, or transactions if you're selling products on your website. So these are just some of the reporting features that I wanted to share with you. You could always go back to the all campaigns view instead of just looking at one particular campaign, and essentially have a more top level view of all of the campaigns. For example, you can look at it by ad group. You can see which ads are performing better and a lot more. So hopefully this has been helpful. I do want to thank you for spending the time to watch this video. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email your project manager or myself personally. You will be able to spend some time going over this and more during your monthly consultation calls if you are a client. If you're not a client and you'd like to learn more about how Google AdWords can work for your business, feel free to email me personally. You can reach me at Sergio, Sergio, at themiamiseocompany.com, or just visit our website, www.themiamiseocompany.com. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye now.